Hi everybody, Lisa here. So a couple of years ago, before I was teaching a tarot class, I did a video on Rider-Waite Smith clones so my students could see an option they have for getting a deck for the class, which I require a RWS or a clone. At that time, I did everything I had. I showed everything I had, but I have since gotten others, so I thought I would do a part two, and here it is. So all of these decks, except for this one, are available at a place called Make Playing Cards, makeplayingcards.com. And I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with them. They have great products, a little on the higher side, which I can deal with, except their shipping is very expensive, which again, I understand because they're international, but they know they're the only game in town and they have no way to lower shipping if you're going to buy a lot of stuff. So you can buy $200 worth of stuff and instead of shipping going down, it's going to go up. So I have a little bit of problem with that, but again, they're the only game in town and they have these beautiful decks. So if you're not interested in any of the other decks that I showed you in the other video, which most of them are available at a very reasonable price through Amazon or whatever, I just thought I'd show you some other options that are out there and available. So I'm going to start with, let's move these guys over here. Oops, sorry about that noise. I'm going to start with this one. This is called My Dirty Pam. Now this is different than the Dirty Pam, which is this deck, which I will get to. But it's a deck that somebody had a deck of cards that they'd used in their readings forever, and they showed their wear, and I think, to the best of my knowledge, he didn't do anything to them except for scan them and then reproduce them. And they're actually really beautiful for a vintage deck. I did talk about vintage decks in my last video, but so I thought I'd show you this. It doesn't come with a box. I created this box. I'm actually gonna sell this one and this one, so not that I don't like them, but I just have so many decks. But anyway, this is a pretty hefty deck. It's really thick. The card stock is amazingly thick. You can see that it has the roses and lilies back. And it's just a really gorgeous vintage deck. So I'm not gonna show you every card, but you can see how this is truly a well-used deck, and an early deck, because you can see that the borders aren't exactly straight, and some people don't like this, other people love it. Like, I love this deck because it reminds me of Carnival on HBO, and that was just a great show. And this deck, even though it's really, really thick, I think it would be a good deck like for somebody who does a lot of parties, and these decks get tons and tons of use. And, you know, I think people, when they're read by this deck, they kind of like the idea that it's, you know, so well used. So anyway, you can see that, you know, it's got this beautiful old look to it. I don't think they put a tea stain on it, but I can't be sure. It may be just naturally yellowed, but you can see all the scratches, which I kind of like, you know. Honestly, I would keep this deck, except that I have a ton of vintage decks, and this one's really big for my hands. I have very, very small hands, so it's a little heavy for me. So if that doesn't bother you, you might like this. You can see that it's made by a copy of the Pam B that doesn't have that little squiggle line. But it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. Like I say, you can see all the scratches, and it just has a real feel to it. Isn't that beautiful? So there's one option, one more option for a vintage deck, and there are other vintage decks available. There's lots of vintage decks available. There's one called, I think, Tarot Vintage, which is kind of a very pale look to it. There's one by Make Playing Cards that I haven't gotten yet, and what is the name of it? I think it's called My Old Pam. And Hermit's Cave really loves that deck as well. So anyway, there's one option for a vintage deck. Another deck that I think I'm going to get rid of, and again, it's not that I don't like the colors, it's just that I have so many and this one doesn't speak to me. I'm on the fence about this one because I really love black borders, and these are beautiful, beautiful coloring and deep, dark coloring. Isn't that gorgeous? I love that star card. And it's called the Diverse Tarot. And again, Make Playing Cards, or if you're interested, I am going to be selling this. But I love this gradient there, beautiful colors. And they're actually, for both these and this one, I do have flip throughs on my channel. So if you want to see the full flip throughs, you can see that. I just love these black borders. That just means so much to me. Oh, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So that's the Diverse Tarot. Sorry about this. Again, it doesn't come with a box, so I just bought this window box for it. So next is a deck by James Ritcliffe, 2018. This is a beautiful deck. This is called, I think it's called RWS 2.0, and I do think it's still available on Make Playing Cards, but you have to search for it. Oh, you know what? I didn't show you the back of these, which I actually love. Here's the back of these. Aren't those beautiful? I love the dark blue. So, dark blue roses and lilies. So anyway, RWS 2.0, here's the back. You can get a box, tuck box, or you can order some tins, which I'll talk about. But anyway, these are really colorful. I love that you can look at this like this, and it looks like a rainbow. And actually, these are in order now because I'm going to compare these to, I'm going to do a comparison between this and the Radiant Tarot, so look for that. But anyway, beautiful, beautiful colors. Look at that. Oof. Ooh, look at that one. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, I don't like that the copyright is so large. I don't generally mind copyrights, but it's kind of large here, so it was noticeable. But I think he may have changed that on later versions. I think this was the first version. But you can see this beautiful, beautiful deck. If you like really bright decks, this is one of those. Really beautiful. Ooh, look at that. Okay, so that is the RWS 2.0. Like I say, you have to search a little bit for it on Make Playing Cards, but I think you can still find it. Then we have the CS Tarot by Conrad Stein. And I got this tin made by Make Playing Cards, which again is pretty easy. You just get the image and upload it and choose the thing. Now this comes with a couple of pictures of pixies, you can see. And it also comes with an option of, here's the back, which I love Crackleback, but you can get this in black, you can get this in orange, I don't know what they call it, but it's kind of a burnt orange, and then there's another one that's a little bit yellow or something, I can't remember. But I sprung and got the gold gilded, which I'm very happy with. You know, I really love the black and the gold, so. Anyway, and these are again in order because I'm going to compare these in another video with this deck, which I think will be fun. But this deck, it uses this crackle feel, and I think I heard him talk about this, that he said this was not digital. He used, like, I don't know, crumpled paper or something. I could be wrong on that, so hopefully he can see this and chime in. But oh my God, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I absolutely love this deck. Now this is a deck that you just get and connect with, you know? So like I say, these are all RWS clones, so you could learn on them. I would accept these in a class situation because that's what I require. And just the texture of them, I just, oh my God, look at that. The texture is just beautiful. Okay, so that is the CS Tarot. Put these in like this. All right, find a place to put this. And then there's this deck, which this is the only one that's going to be pretty difficult to get. And it just occurs to me that I forgot to bring another deck, so I need to go get that. So give me just 1 second. Okay, sorry, I'm back. So I needed to bring this in. So this is one of my favorite decks. They all look different for a reason. This is called lovingly called the Dirty Pam. And this is practically impossible to get. I was really lucky to find one. You can be tricked by looking at this because there's 2 other versions that aren't the actual Dirty Pam. Only the one with the dark brown table is the one. But I won't take these out because they're really rare and hard to get out. And these look just like them, so you'll see. These are kind of a reissue of these, but the only way you can get them is from a magazine called Total Tarot, and it's only available in the UK. So people in the UK have this, just not too many people in the US have this. I ended up getting this through eBay. So it's a magazine that gives you tarot cards, but these are by Lo Scarabeo. And what happened is that they stopped making these, and you'll see why these are so sought after when you look at the colors when I open them up. But they stopped making these. They didn't tell anybody. They kept the box looking similar so people didn't know what they were and weren't getting. And then they created a proprietary thing with Total Tarot that they would offer it to their subscribers. And they called it the Radiant Wise Spirit Tarot. Now, if you go to Amazon and you look for the Radiant Rise Spirit, what you'll get is a full-size tarot deck, because these are a little bit thinner, the same height, but a little bit thinner than normal tarot cards. But you'll get them without a border. And I just do not like them. They not only did they, I don't know if they stretched the pictures or what it was, but the pictures don't look right. In addition to that, you can see that this, these are the title cards. You can see that this cardstock is pretty good cardstock, but it's not too shiny. And that other stuff, that Radiant Wise, they're really shiny and just, I just do not like them. But this deck is so beautiful. Look at the depth of the colors in this deck. It's got an ambiance to it. And the colors, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Night is night. So this again is an option if you know somebody in the UK, or if they're still offering it through Total Tarot, but I would not get the borderless Radiant Wise. Now, the upside of this is that this deck is the mini deck of this. So it's called the Radiant Wise Spirit. It's offered under the same name as that borderless deck in the US. Sorry, this is the back, and these are the backs of the other ones too, you can see. Same backs. But these are the same cards, only in mini. Now, if this is your first deck, I'd suggest you get a full-size deck. I suggest learning with a full-size deck. But if you want something to carry around with you, these are the perfect size. They're not too big. They're not as big as a pocket deck, but they're not so small like a little mini. You can see the images. Sorry, I forgot to turn these right side up. Isn't that beautiful? So same deck, but just, oh my God. This is probably one of my favorite mini decks, if not the favorite. Okay, so that is called Dirty Pam. Well, it's kind of like a colloquial term. It's actually the Pamela Coleman Smith RWS, but again, there's several decks that are called that and don't look like that. But then the Radiant Spirit Wise, which is only available in the UK, and the Radiant Spirit Wise available here. Okay. So then the last two are both, again, by Make Playing Cards, and again by Conrad Stein, who did this one. And this, the Roses and Lilies, first of all, these boxes are to die for. They're actually a recreation of what was, how they were originally sold. And I'm guessing they were in leather. You can kind of see, I don't know if you can kind of see that leather type of look on there. But the Roses and Lilies talks about the back. It's got this beautiful pull tab so you can get them out easily. And these are basically as close to the original 1909 deck that you can get. There's a woman by the name of Saskia Jensen, I keep forgetting, um, who owns one of only 5 original decks, and she said this is the closest to that deck. It's her scans that these were made from, and these are just a really, really nice deck as opposed to, your just average yellow box deck. Okay, which I showed in my first video. I showed a yellow box deck, but I do want to make sure that you know that those ones were from either the 70s or the 90s. I don't remember which one I used, but if you get them now, they're a lot more bright and garish. If you want a yellow box deck, I would go onto eBay and get anything between the 70s and the 90s, which are still available. But anyway, these are really beautiful. There's some beautiful textures to them, and and a vintage looking deck. A vintage looking deck without trying to look vintage. Okay, in fact, let me put these back this way. And the last one is called the Pam A, which what happened is they released this. They weren't happy with it, so they recalled it. They told everybody that if they turned these in, they would get this one in replacement. This was 1909. This is 1910. This one is what the Centennial deck that I showed in the last video is loosely made out of. And I actually have a video comparing this to that Centennial deck, as I do on this one. But anyway, this is the 1910 deck. I love, love, love the Crackleback. This is my first Crackleback. And just, again, not too garish like the yellow boxes are, yet I think that, these were the inspiration eventually for the yellow boxes. So there is the Pam A. Again, everything except these guys are available from Make Playing Cards. This one is available Amazon or whatever. And I hope that helps. I'll be teaching another tarot class probably in the fall. Actually, I'll be teaching a couple of classes. And I hope this helps you decide on some of the decks that you might want to look into and might want to use. And for sure, go back and look at that original Rider-Waite Smith clone video. So I have all the really ones that are a lot more available in that one. So I thank you for joining me. If you would be so kind as to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more of these, I'd appreciate it. And until then, have a great day. Bye-bye.